Hola amigos, welcome back to my channel. In my last video, I showed you guys how I go from Xela Guatemala to Oaxaca, Mexico by land. But I didn't have the chance to talk through the details as the footage was not enough. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the whole journey, how I did land border crossing from Guatemala to Mexico, what kind of vehicles I used, how long it took, and how much it cost, and why I chose to cross the border by land instead of by air. I crossed the border on September 14th. September 15 and 16 are the Independence Day of Guatemala and Mexico. Definitely, I didn't want to be on the road on these 2 days because last year I was traveling from Antigua to Panahache on the Independence Day of Guatemala. So in my last 20 minutes of the trip, there was a roadblock for a local parade. So I needed to walk for a long way and took 2 buses in order to go to my destination. Even though the possibility to have the same experience in 2020 is low, I still didn't want to take the risk. Oh, by the end of the video, I'm going to show you guys how Mexicans celebrate their Independence Day this year at home. Because of the current situation, I took a private shuttle to go from Xela, Guatemala to the border. The area is called Tacumuma. It took a little over than 3 hours and it cost 550 quetzales, which is like $73. I quoted another company in August and they asked for 1,300 quetzales, which is like $170. No, $173. So I think 550 quetzales for private shuttle. The price is quite fair. If you would like to lower down your cost, you can post your plan to a local Facebook group to see if anyone would like to share the shuttle with you, but communicate with your driver first because everyone has luggage and it might take up a lot of space. For 2 people, the cost is 350 quetzales per person, which is around $47. When we arrived in Tacumuma, my driver stopped me right in front of the custom of Guatemala. Then he helped me to get a tuk-tuk. Actually, you can just walk into the custom of Guatemala by yourself and then cross the border and then go into the custom of Mexico. You don't really need a tuk-tuk, but since I had a lot of stuff and I have never crossed the border by myself, so I didn't know if it was safe to go alone. I paid 125 quetzales, around $17 for the tuk-tuk. It's a bike, it's not a motorcycle. The market price was 100 to 150 quetzales at that time. People said that it used to be only like 10 quetzales, but because of the current situation, they got less customers, so they increased the price. I left my stuff in the tuk-tuk and I went into the custom of Guatemala. It was a very small office. They didn't check my temperature or needed me to sanitize my hands. It was a very quick process because there was no queue at all. They did actually check my visa, but I explained to them that I could stay in Guatemala legally without a visa during calamity. Then I got back to the tuk-tuk and crossed the border. I was expecting the place was a little messy, but it was not. It had nothing except one old railway and one foreigner was crossing the border from the Mexican side to the Guatemalan side. That's it. And the distance between 2 customs actually is not that short if you have luggage. So if you have a lot of belongings, no one can really help you at that point. When I reached the Mexican side, again, I left my luggage in the tuk-tuk and went into the office. The office was way much bigger and with air conditioning, but it was quiet. They didn't check my temperature and they didn't ask me to sanitize my hands. First, they gave me the immigration card to fill in. Then they asked me to pay for my 180-day stay. I was a little confused because I entered Mexico a few times before and I never paid. So they explained to me that if I go to Mexico by air, the fee is included in your air ticket. But if you go to Mexico by land, you need to pay 575 pesos for your stay, which is around $27. They only accept dollars, Mexican peso, or credit card. If you stay there for only 7 days, it's still free. At that moment of time, a lot of foreigners was crossing the border in order to use the airport in Tapachula to go back home. Before pandemic, many of them went to Mexico for a weekend and then go back to Guatemala for a new entry. In their office, there are washrooms that you can use. Make sure you go there because it will take you a while to go to the airport or to the bus station, and I don't think that you would like to look for a washroom in the middle of the road. But surprisingly, there was no hand soap in their washroom. It was a little bit odd at this moment of time. After that, they checked all my belongings outside the office. They did really check everything. I had a box of miso for the miso soup. They asked me what it was. I didn't know how to explain it, so I just said, oh, it's mole. Besides, I also had 2 small bottles of wine, which I wrapped them very nicely. They did unwrap that. So I was like, oh my god, are they gonna take it? No, I thought they were just bored. Then I went back to the tuk-tuk and the driver passed me to a Mexican taxi. The whole land border crossing process was like 30 to 45 minutes. The tuk-tuk driver in the whole trip was keep asking me for extra money. He said it's for him to go back to the Guatemalan side. No way. I just ignored him. He was just way too greedy. The taxi trip was another 1 hour to the Oaxaca bus station. It cost 600 pesos, which was $28. During the taxi ride, we passed through a robot. A police without a mask they asked for my passport, but no question was asked. So the whole trip to go from Xela Guatemala to Tapachula, Mexico was around 5 hours. My Tigo SIM card from Guatemala was still working on the Mexican side for a while, but the bus station, they do have free Wi-Fi. They also have a charging station for cell phone, but I found that all the USB ports were not working, so I was using like a regular charger. If you need to charge your phone, that's your only chance because it's not available on the bus. In the bus station, there's ATM, washrooms, and a few restaurants on the opposite side. The Oaxaca bus from Tapachula to Oaxaca is only available once a day. The duration is around almost 13 hours for 710 pesos, but somehow I got a discount and I only paid 602 pesos, which was around $28. I talked to the driver and then he said that there are also 2 other companies running the same route, but their buses are in a lower grade. My bus was very basic with seat on each row is 2 and 2 plus a washroom at the back, and it's not a direct bus. It kept picking up and dropping off passengers. In the bus station, they put a sticker on every other seat to ask people to keep social distance. But in the bus, we are just right next to a stranger and it was closed, so it was a bit odd. During the whole trip, we passed through like at least 5 roadblocks, and police that come to the bus and checked. They did ask some people to leave the bus, and those people never returned. I was expecting that they was looking for a suspect because I traveled in Mexico by bus a lot and I never had that experience before. But the last 2 times they checked me as well. They asked for my bus ticket and passport. My Mexican friend told me that it's just what happened in Chiapas is as normal. After 1 hour or so, the bus stopped and we all needed to take our luggage to I'm not quite sure it's custom or it's a checkpoint. I don't know, but they asked for our ID and scanned all our stuff. In total, I spent $145 from Xela Guatemala to Oaxaca, Mexico by land. I chose this way because if I took a plane to go from Tapachula, I could only go to Mexico City. The whole trip from Xela to Mexico City will be over $200. If I take a plane from Guatemala City to Mexico City, it's gonna be $300, which is double of the original price. In order to go from Mexico City to Oaxaca, the duration is around 7 hours. The price is from $18 to $29, depends on the type of the bus. If by air, it's gonna be less than 1 hour, but it costs like $80 plus luggage. So the price range of going from Xela Guatemala to Oaxaca, Mexico is from $145 to over $400 at that moment of time. Normally there are buses to go from Xela in Guatemala to San Cristobal de las Casas in Mexico. If the service is resumed, it's gonna be more economical and less complicated. Hopefully this video can give you some reference. Taking an overnight bus is tiring and it's long, but it's a different experience and I like it. Now let me show you how we celebrate the Independence Day at home in Mexico this year. I'll see you next time. Bye! Esta está menos dura ya.